Hello and welcome to the Garblag Games Zweihander show. Watch out, things are about to get grim and perilous. Okay, hello and welcome back to the Garblag Games Zweihander show. This is the first episode of Grim and Perilous. Nearly said Flint and Steel there. We are here with our new show. This is going to be a short campaign. In a minute, we'll go around and the guys will introduce who they are and who they're playing, more importantly. But before we do, we'd just like to thank our sponsor for this show, the guys over at Zweihander RPG, the Grim and Perilous role-playing game. They are supporting the show as they are launching on Kickstarter Main Gauche, their Chaos expansion for Zweihander, with loads of new cool professions, demons, monsters, etc. I've got a little, where's my mouse pointer? Got a little picture to put on the screen. There we go.
He says little.
Yeah, it covers everyone up. So this is in pounds, but they are 300% plus funded. So it's already happening. They're now just opening up more stretch goals. And on filming, there's 20 days left. When this goes out, it'll be 18 days. So get over there, check it out. There's a link below. This looks really cool. The artwork is fantastic. And it's just another addition to what we can see already as one hell of a game, which has got lots of stuff going for it. These books are huge. Okay, cool. Anyway, there's some free stuff on Drive-Thru RPG that you can go and check out. Check them out on Twitter because there's a load of links on there that you can go and follow. You can see all the professions. They just released a load of demons, and I'm sure they'll be releasing a load of sort of sneak peeks as they go up until the end of the Kickstarter. Anyway, don't forget to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Also, please go and check out our Patreon. We're doing loads of stuff on there. There's loads of free stuff. We're doing loads of maps. We're going to do our dungeon themed character sheet version 2 when we get to 10 patrons. So please go and check that out. Please consider supporting the channel. Everyone who helps us helps make it better for everybody. So check that out. Okay, anyway, before we go any further, we should probably do introduction. So I'm Pete, the GM, and we'll start on my left.
I'm Colin. I am playing Thierry, the totally honest and legitimate halfling trader.
Thief! Sorry, cough.
Paul, I'm playing Bertholdt Vipond, a human ranger.
Hi, I'm Roger. I'm playing Feltrix, the gnome diabolist.
I'm Simon, and I'm playing Jax. He has a sword, and people pay him to use it.
Cool. Okay, excellent. Right, so the four of you, we shall dive straight in, are on a river barge heading down the Basque River. Oh, before we start, I should say we are running the adventure from the Main Gauche expansion for Zweihander. So what we play here, with my own little twist on it, as always, you will be able to find in that expansion. So hopefully this will make you even more excited about it. Okay.
And also, we might worth adding we're not experts with these Zweihander rules
yes.
set quite yet.
Not yet.
I've not played it before, and I think Simon's probably the only person who's played it, and someone else was in charge of the rules.
Yeah, someone else knew the rules, and I played along.
So bear with us. If you have any comments, we want to hear them. Put them in the comments below. Any advice on how to play the game, that would be great. I'm sure Daniel will put some comments and send me some emails about how we deal with the first session. But we shall.
Oh God, what have you done?
Yeah. Thanks for that. That was great. Okay, so our adventure begins as it's autumn and you are heading down the Basque River. You are in the employ of a landowner called Maximilian Steiger. He has sent you largely to escort Feltrix, Roger's character, the Gnome Academic, by which you know him. He has particular skills that Steiger requires being used in Kahabro, which is a massive metropolitan city at the other end of the river. one of his contacts has found some interesting articles, some old dusty books, and he needs someone to go and have a look at them and see if they're of any use or of any particular note. So Feltrix has been employed to head down the river, and Diego, who is played by me, is the riverman who is taking you on the boat. His good friend, Thierry, the halfling, is on board. He has charted this river before. He knows the ways of this river, the eddies, the flow, the current, and is a good person to have on board the boat. Jax has been hired to protect the two of them with his trusty mortuary sword, which he keeps about him all the time. And the slightly grumpy Bertholdt is there as well to provide covering fire, it seems. He doesn't seem to be necessarily a paid warrior, more a man of the land, someone who works the land, maybe handy with a bow. So the four of you are headed down the river. It's been a few days of travel, and it's raining once again. The trees along the side of the river are starting to turn to that lovely shade of brown. The golden colours are coming out between the greens. But the sky is grey. There is rain. You are on this barge, and the rain is just pelting against the wooden hull of it, and you are getting tired of this. And after a few days worth of travel, Diego calls to you. You're all down in a kind of bivouac hold. It's not very comfortable. It's like a shed on the one end of this barge. There's some goods on it. Diego's often doing trade up and down the river, which is all kind of covered in tarps and sheets and that kind of stuff. But the four of you are down in this room as Diego calls down to you and says, "I think we'll be stopping up here. There's a jetty I can see. I think we could all do with putting our feet on the ground for a little bit. It's starting to stink in there. You guys all okay with that?"
Yeah, sounds good
That
to me.
sounds like a jolly good idea to me.
He always seems slightly troubled by you. You have a strange air about you with your lank hair and your gnomish visage. Gnomes are in this not quite as pleasant as they are in Dungeons and Dragons. Remember, this is Zweihander, so they are kind of strange, ugly little creatures that are thought to be the union of dwarf and elf, and therefore sort of outcasts. So he's a strange figure amongst you on the boat, but he is the person you are here to look after. Very well, very well. Okay, I'll set in. If my memory serves right, this is Lloyd's beacon. There's just a few houses. I'll sort that out. So he starts to steer the barge over towards the side of the river. If you guys want to come out on the deck, you can see that ahead there is a small wooden jetty. You've been here before, Thierry.
Right.
And there are, you can see a few sort of buildings on the shore, little wooden structures with little thatched roofs. And on one side of the jetty there is a boat moored up, and a few people on the jetty sort of seem to be sort of arguing. One of them has got a rather red face. He's kind of pointing and pointing. Make a let's have a look. Let's make a first roll, shall we? I grabbed a. Well, this is more of a seeing awareness roll. Yes, please.
So I have the focus discern details. What does that do?
That allows you to ignore a negative situational modifier.
Okay.
Which the rain and the grey sky would give you a minus 10%.
Okay.
But you're not affected by that.
Awesome. So that means that I need a. So perception's 43. I've got one rank in awareness, so I need a 53 or less.
Yes, indeed.
And I get 42.
Excellent. Okay. As you guys all sort of start coming out on the deck to have a look, you're pretty sure that that boat is taking on water. You see it's sort of listing to one side. Even though it's moored, it seems to be moving strangely, and you're sure it's sort of going a bit deeper into the water. Diego's got the tiller and he's kind of moving it around, and he's like the barge is very slow. You know, you're a little way off, which is why you couldn't hear anything.
Yeah.
The boat is manoeuvring around in the water, which is starting to get a little bit turbulent because of the rain. It's starting to get heavier. You guys have all got your cloaks and hoods about you, and you can see this. So Diego's not paying any attention. He's just getting the boat turned around.
Not a huge amount I can do about it.
No. And you start to get closer, and as you do, you can hear a man saying, "You bloody idiot! You could have fucking told me there was a hole in the bottom of your boat before I chartered you to sail down the river. This is ridiculous." I mean, and this man he's shouting at, and a couple of young lads, sort of teenagers, are manoeuvring sort of barrels off of this boat. It's like, "Come on, get it all off there, quick! I don't want my wine going in the river. This is ridiculous. Come on, come on!" And you can all hear, as you get close, you can all hear this as you sort of pull up. And Diego sort of gives you all a bit of a look, and he sort of steers the boat in alongside. And although you're a fellow sort of trader and traveller, he's become slightly friendly with you, Bertholdt, in a kind of, you're quite handy. And you're not against doing a bit of work with your hands.
Yeah.
So he kind of nods at you, and you tie it off at the end. And he's like, "Okay, right, I'll check everything's okay. Go. I mean, stretch your legs if you want to."
I'm going to step off the boat
Okay.
without going, "Oh, bloody rain. Awful."
This large man, it's sort of grey hair, clearly in his late 40s, sort of turns around. He's got fairly nice clothing, but he's getting very wet in the rain. But he's standing there with his hands on his hips and, you know, sort of pointing every now and then. "What? Come on, move it! That one especially! Get that!" And he sort of turns around and he looks at you like, haven't seen a gnome for a while kind of look. You get this a lot. Yes, it is not... Oh, he seems to suddenly notice that he's sort of getting wet. He sort of looks behind you and sees your barge with a nice little hut on it. "Would you mind if I used shelter of your barge while these idiots empty my boat? I've got important business to get on with."
You'd have to check that with the captain. That's not my decision.
Diego's at the back and... Sure. And he's like, "Well, I'll give you a couple of pennies for your trouble." And Diego's like, "Definitely."
I'll flash my hand when he says that.
Sort of looks at you strangely. Doesn't seem to not want to touch your hand. Puts in your money, the money in your hand. Yes. Well,
I'll step straight off the barge as well. I'm staying just very close to my Flemish friend.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point, isn't it, really?
There's people moving about, and you can see that there's a few fishermen with their boats pulled up just on the banks around the sides, and a few of them moving around. It looks like some of them were probably going to come and try and sell this merchant, whoever he is, some of their wares, but they seem to be holding back whilst he's berating the crew who are emptying the ship, the other boat. They're kind of scattered around. There's very few people. There's a couple of small buildings, but you can see a group of Reeves, who are kind of the regional policeman type thing, who sort of go around keeping the countryside safe. You see a group of Reeves beyond them, sort of shouting, and a man bursts through between these young lads who are going to sell fish and shrimp and clams and all that kind of stuff. And he kind of stumbles through, and he's kind of clutching his side, and he's like, and he's running full pelt down the jetty. He just seems to be coming straight towards the kind of cluster of people who are now on the jetty, and he's like, "Help me! Help! Help!
I'll
help!"
step in front of.
I was going to
I'll
step
step
back.
in front of him.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll step forwards.
Bertholdt is just on the edge of the boat. He's helped the other guy on to get a bit of shelter.
Mhm.
So he's just standing back, having a look round, trying to just take it all in,
Okay.
but not getting too close.
I'll go and see what see to this guy. I'm also glancing up to see how what did you say they were called? The police?
Reeves.
The Reeves. How they're reacting to this guy running. Are they trying to chase him? Or?
They are chasing him. They are seeming to be coming after him. And this man runs straight towards you guys.
Okay.
Make awareness rolls. Plus 20%.
Yes, very much so.
Bertholdt, from
yes,
your
I'll make it plus
perspective,
20.
you can see they're kind of all clustered near the
Yes,
jetty
he's
where they're
a
coming,
little
but
bit
you're a
higher
bit
up on the
further and
bars,
you're
yeah.
looking across. You can see him running along. Did you make your awareness roll?
So it's the 52. Yeah, 12.
Okay. So you guys who are in front of him, you can see he is very pale, as if someone who is, as a sellsword,
He's been stabbed. Is that his?
you could
bleeding
tell
out, you
he's
reckon?
somewhere there must be blood on him.
Okay.
From your
He's
vantage
clutching at his
point,
side, so I'm
you can
guessing
see,
probably-
yeah, he's clutching his side, but you can actually now see that there is blood almost flowing down his back, and he is running along. Help me! I've got to get away! No, quick! Let me on your boat, please! He comes towards you. The Reeves are trying to get through their group of people, but they seem to be sort of slowing them down.
I would stay there. Sort of hold out my hand and say, stay back.
He presses up against you. He is trying to get to a boat. You are kind of in between him and both of them, and he hasn't noticed that one of them is going down.
Thinking.
But he is just like, please. He looks up at you, and you can see panic in his eyes. And as he kind of lifts his other hand up to implore you by grabbing you on the shoulders, you can see that it's slick with blood.
Let him on that one. I'll point at the sinking one.
He's looking at you. He's like, please, let me.
I'm pushing him out. I don't want
Okay,
nothing to do
you're
with
gonna-
this guy.
okay, you're pushing him back.
One hand's more down by my sword, but the other hand,
Okay.
I'm keeping him away with my hand, and I don't want him getting past me. I'm happy to keep. I don't want to be rough with him at the moment, unless he tries to get past the wall. But at the moment, it's just a hand out to
So
keep
you're holding
back.
him off. What are you doing? You're saying put him on that boat.
Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm just surveying the scene. I'm
Surveying the scene.
Yeah, just
You can
leaning
see the
on
Reeves
board.
now starting to move up. What are you doing? The merchant behind you is going, what's going on? What's going on over there? Some poor chap looks hurt.
What would I do?
Are we going to help him?
My character would be really tempted to. It's just a question of how I'm reacting.
Yeah, you can
playing off
see
these
the
guys.
sellsword is holding him off.
Yeah.
As you're doing this, the Reeves are moving around. It looks like they haven't spotted him because of the collection of people in front of them. So you have a brief pause.
I've taken half a step forwards, and I'll make to peer at him and go, Jim, that you?
Okay. Let's see if he's got his
And
wits
he's got
about
his
him.
sense.
See if he's got his
Quite
wits
a
about
lot.
him. Let's make an intelligence roll for him. See if he's compos mentis. Oh, 3. Yeah.
Yes, he is.
He looks over and he goes, but Bob? Oh, it's you! Quick, please, let me on your boat, please. The merchant's like, oh, you know that chap?
Oh, yeah. Let him on, he's all right.
Okay. What are you going to do? Diego's like, yeah, I mean, come on, more the merrier, why not? He's kind of sitting at the back. He's got a little pipe out and he's starting to load it with tobacco, and he's kind of got his hood up high so he can have a little smoke underneath it.
Is your problem then? I've got my hand in front. I just to push him towards you.
Okay, so you push him.
Yeah, so I'm not viciously, but
Yeah.
I push him
Guide
past
him.
me, guide him past me.
Okay.
Okay, I'll get him up. I'm going to try and get him up onto the boat and out of immediate sight, and then start trying
So I'll go to where they are and lean down to help
Okay.
him on
and then
board.
try and patch him up if I can. I'm not
Okay, right.
gonna be
So the
great,
two of you
but-
bring him on. As
Yeah.
you do,
Actually, that's good.
his arms come away, and there's some sort of meagre wrapping that he's got on his body, and blood just starts to flow out of him on the jetty, on the side of the boat, and he sort of falls almost into your arms, like that trust game, like this. He's like, the wind has gone out of him, the energy's gone. He's like, thank you, please. And his hand goes into his side, and he seems to be fumbling with something, and a purse kind of slips out, and a couple of coins roll across the floor.
I'll
And as you help him, he reaches down to pick it up. But you guys are helping him. Make awareness rolls. Just those two. Yep. So you guys are on the jetty, and the merchant there he's gone in. The guy is bringing up all the wine barrels, and this guy who looks like the most pissed off riverman you've ever seen is like, "Is this all going on your boat then? He's gone on your boat. Is this all coming with him? Where am I putting it? I'll leave it here."
Nothing to do with me.
Sorry, it's the
Cheers.
wine. Oh yes, put the wine on the boat.
All right. He looks from you to you to you to you to your sword, back to him. He's like,
Do what he says.
"What's going on today? What is going on today?" So he and the young lad start to move the wine from the jetty onto the boat.
Can't leave the wine.
Yeah. The merchant's like, am I coming with you chaps then? As you say that, the guy is reaching down to find his purse.
I passed the.
You passed?
I failed.
You failed. Okay. Because you're shorter, you're closer to the ground,
Yeah.
and you can see that as he reaches down to get his purse, he takes something out of his pocket and he puts it behind a barrel.
Okay.
In one of the crates that you've got.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're trying to sort of prop him up and try to make him comfortable.
So then he does that, and then he kind of turns around,
later,
and he's like, "Oh."
I'll make a note of that for later.
Yeah.
I'm sure I can fence that later.
Okay.
Well, I'd say negotiate a price for
But
it.
you're not a thief, are
Or
you?
accepting, but
No.
The merchant kind of walks past you guys who are kind of dealing with this. He's like,
should make the journey
So-
more fun.
"So this is an excellent idea. I need to get to Kahabro."
Well, we're heading the right way.
Well,
Well,
that's
there is
excellent.
there is a price.
Yeah, you have to negotiate price with the guy who owns the boat, but
Well, I mean,
I'm a bit busy at the moment. so I'm
I
not
can
paying too
introduce you, but there is a fee.
I'm sure I can talk to him myself.
He doesn't accept strangers.
He sort of looks around the corner, and Diego's kind of sitting there smoking his pipe under his hood. Yes, he does look like a bit of a loner. I was going to offer you 80 brass pennies to take me up the river.
100.
Make a bargain roll, but I think this will be an opposed. Let's have a look.
Under fellowship.
Oh,
How do I not have any ranks in
that's
bargain?
a pretty good start.
Oh, I'll go with
You
that.
just snuck it.
I rolled a 2.
Oh, nice.
Very
Actually,
persuasive there.
You should have started with 200 and then
Should have
worked.
got it a bit
His
higher.
position modifies it, so he's quite desperate. Yeah. So he says to you,
No, I rolled
"Very
a-
well,
Is that a
Very
lot?
well.
I have no idea if this is a good
very
one.
well.
I think the way opposed rolls work, you want to get the highest result that's still a success.
Yeah, the thing is, there's not a chance he won't go on the boat with you because he's got no way of getting his wine up the river. So this is just you making a roll to see if you can blag some more money out of him. Very well. I will pay you 100 brass pennies.
Hand appears outside of the robes he's hiding under.
I'll count it out for you. Don't worry, I will pass it to you shortly. He's going to go off and get his purse out from a secret place he doesn't want people to show and count his money out and put it in a little bag for you and everything. But you'll get 100 brass pennies for taking him up the.
I will
The
wander
river.
onto the boat and hand Diego 80 brass pennies, going, "He wants us to move the wine upriver."
You can give him 80.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He
He just puts his hand out. Fine. Okay. We'll go in there anyway. So
No idea if that's please
Fine.
money or not.
So what's happening with this guy on the deck?
okay. So the guy
Trying
he
to
is
make
he
it
is
comfortable.
severely bleeding.
I'm going
He
to
is,
try and see if I can stop the bleeding. This is probably not going to go well
Okay.
because I do not have the heal skill, and it's one of the ones that's starred, which I think means you need to be trained to actually use it
Okay.
effectively. So,
Okay, make a roll. It's very difficult.
Oh God.
So this is going to be an arduous heal roll because he is
Nice.
grievously wounded.
And because it's not, because I don't have the skill, it'll flip around if I succeed. So I need to roll really low on both of them.
Yes, you need to roll like an
My
11.
target number is 11.
Oh, right. Okay, so a 0-1 would be good.
0-1 would be good. A 60-something is not.
Okay, so
And you chop his
as
head
you
off.
lean over to help him,
Unlike I
He-
actually botch. But
he is suffering severely. He has been stabbed. Make a perception roll.
Perception, just a straight.
you want me to roll
and Bertholdt as well.
Awareness or
Awareness. Yes. Oh,
Someone 24, yeah. So
no, awareness is fine.
Awareness is good. Okay, so I fail.
I pass.
I'm too busy trying to stop him bleeding.
You can tell he was stabbed by something long and thin.
Like a sword
No,
or a spear.
no.
Like
Stiletto?
a stiletto.
Yes.
All right.
Like a what, sorry?
As
Stiletto.
a stiletto, as
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
doing all of this and you're
Can I put a
negotiating and you're
blindfold on?
watching,
Okay.
right, you hear a kid shout, "I think he went over there," and some Reeves start to head up the jetty, and one of them sort of looks down at the floor and sees a drip of blood. You've now got him down onto the boat, so he's kind of behind barrels and things, so he's not visible from the jetty.
Do you go and suggest to Diego that we set off?
Yeah. I think we should, so if I did Bertholdt stand up and
This one big bloke starts walking down the jetty. Whoa, 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 whoa! Everybody, stay where you are. Stay where you are. I'm the sergeant in this part. I'm in charge of this jetty. And the guy who's unloading the other boat kind of turns around like, oh. Right. Some idiot ran down here. He's been evading justice from the Reeves, and we're after him. We want to find him. He's a sympathiser. He's in league with evil sorts around these parts. There are brigands about, and this guy's one of them. We need to find him. Where is he?
What does he look like?
He describes the man that's and he's covered in blood. And he kind of looks down at the floor of the jetty, and he can see that there is blood on the floor.
There's a bit too much blood for the rain to have washed it away.
Mm-hmm. Right. What?
So Bertholdt, who's overhearing this conversation, leaning over this guy, is desperately trying to wipe the blood that he's been around the wound back on the body, so if he has to step out, he hasn't got any blood on it.
You're wiping.
Yeah.
Well, he's not dead yet. He's just like, you're like,
I'm pretending to help, but also wiping the blood off my own hands
nice.
onto the body to try and clean myself
that's
up.
some sort of corruption thing, isn't it? That's like, that's like.
I'm trying to help him, but also I'm trying to help myself.
No, is that like defacing a tomb? Is that like?
Not really. He's just trying to not look incriminating.
Yeah, if I step out from behind barrels covered in blood,
I'd say he's trying to protect the guy.
Yeah.
If he steps out going covered in the guy's blood, he's going to get found. So actually,
That's very true.
I'd say
Okay, I
it's
think
almost the most honourable thing to do.
Sure. The most honourable thing to do.
Well,
Okay. yeah.
I'm trying to help him, and now I'm just trying to help myself by making sure his blood's on him and not on me.
Sure.
If I have to speak to the nice police officer.
Okay.
I'm going to look at Jax and go, is that the chap that jumped in the river?
Might be.
What?
Some maniac jumped in the river. Who would do such a thing in this weather? Stupid person.
He looks around the boat.
I'm head down, so yeah. I'm desperately trying to keep the guy from bleeding to death.
Okay, right. You're hiding. Okay.
I'm not so much deliberately hiding as I'm just short and dealing behind a barrel. So
okay, right. I want to come in and look at your boat. And that one, he says, and he kind of waves. Yeah, he actually looks
Start with that one.
He actually looks
You might
over.
want to be quick with that one.
He looks over and he's like, "You can search that one." He says to one of the guys behind him. Right, come on, out of the way. I want to search your boat. We're looking for this guy.
It's not my boat, and I'll step to the side.
I stepped aside as well.
Okay. He walks around.
So I stand up
Yeah.
and sort of put my elbow, start looking out to sea and slide gradually away from the barrels.
So
Sort
that
of, lean
so you've
across.
tried to hide him a bit.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's sort of tucked in. He's still there.
Yeah.
I've washed the blood off.
He's still there.
Yeah. And I'm sort of sliding along. Evening,
Okay.
officer.
And looks at you. What's
So he's
going
just
on
walking
here?
along the edge of the boat.
He steps onto the. He like turns around, steps onto the boat, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on here? Why is all this blood everywhere then?" And he turns around and he sees you trying to hide this body, but you've had very little time and you've been trying to patch him up.
Most people have been trying to keep him alive.
And he's like, "Right, that's him. Boys, over here. We've got him. Right, out of the way. I'm going to take this guy. Don't give me any trouble."
Okay, I'm sorry. Someone was injured. Looked like he needed help.
The guy turns to you. "Help me!"
I don't know how long's he going to last.
And he dies. The life goes out of him, and he's like, "Yeah, right, you little fucker." Everyone make awareness rolls. Plus 10% for anyone on the boat.
98, that's a big fuck.
It's
I
not-
fall off the edge of the
it's
boat.
not- So
What's that over there?
Yeah.
Splush.
Can't swim.
I get 0-3. Yes,
Ooh.
I noticed.
Anyone else?
No.
No.
I see that.
It's not a critical
So-
success, but
All of the Reeves are armed with swords, but this man has a stiletto on his belt.
Or the captain.
Which make a folklore roll.
I'm not going to be openly accusing the captain of murdering this guy in
Okay.
front of all his friends.
Sure.
That sounds like a bad idea. Folklore roll for no. Let's just go with no. It was an 81.
Okay, right. So they start to come on board,
Okay.
and they start manoeuvring his body.
Yeah.
And they pick him up, and they start to take him away.
I'll not be pointing out the thing he stashed.
Can I?
What thing?
I'm going to.
Yeah, I'm the only one who knows about it.
Exactly.
You're going to blindfold yourself.
Yeah, I'm just going to kind of. Because I've got my hood drawn down, I'm literally
Yeah.
just going to put it out with my hood over, so it looks like I'm sheltering.
Okay.
And I'm going to cast Witch Sight.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
I want to see what.
So we need
if I can tell what
to
they were looking for.
cast your spell, don't we?
Yes.
You know how to do that?
No.
It's an incantation plus 10% because it's petty magic.
Okay, so I have that with the
Correct.
thing, so-
Correct us if we're wrong in the comments below, please. Because then episode 2 will be a lot better with all the rules.
Yes, 22.
Okay.
Ooh,
So
critical success.
what happens with?
Is that-
Oh yeah, if you're on a double,
If you're on a double and it's a success,
it's a success. It's a critical success. If you're on a double and it's a failure, it's a critical failure.
All right, so I successfully cast, so I can visually determine if an object or person is imbued or under influence of magic. Naturally, since Charge Magic 3 is within the unliving, you can also detect creatures that are classified as supernatural. But because it was critical, I can also detect what sort of magic spell has affected the object or person, if any.
Okay. You got blindfold on.
I have to.
He has to cast
okay.
a spell.
A blindfold placed over your eyes.
You can sense no magical influence or spells or items around you.
Okay. I will kind of move that
Sure.
quietly and
Yeah.
pull the
Bertholdt leans over and just gets.
We have to make a. Hang on. I believe we have to do another roll.
What do we?
You've done magic. You need to check if the demons at your head.
yeah.
Excellent.
So,
Session 1. Hidden by demons.
yeah, this is fun.
I
Okay.
may abandon ship and run it.
So there may be a couple of moments in this where we do check the rules. I'll try and edit them out if I
Might
can.
take a while.
690 pages. It's definitely a Zweihander. Right, okay. I have to say, though, they are fucking awesome books. The
Oh, yeah.
quality in the artwork is fantastic, very evocative of a simpler time.
I've looked up 3 things on the index, and all 3 were
okay.
easy
So
to find,
right
so
place.
that's good.
maybe
Wow,
we just revise what happened very slightly. So first you select your spell, yeah, and adjust difficulty rating. So it's +10 for petty, blah blah blah. Then you channel power. You can suffer corruption to increase your chance of succeeding. So you could, for every point of corruption you take. Now corruption's not bad straight away, because at the end of the session, we roll some dice, and if you roll under your level of corruption, you go up in your chaos rank. If you roll over your level of corruption, you go up in your order rank. So the more corruption you get, the more likely you are to go up in your chaos. Yeah. So you don't want to get lots of corruption, but 1 or 2 points is not going to be bad, because you roll 3 dice, and it's.
So then disappear at the end of the session.
Yeah, and then you go again.
Oh, okay.
So if you take 1 corruption, you get a difficulty step bonus, so you get +10%. But you'd have to roll another dice when you roll your chaos die after your magic is cast.
Okay then.
And you could do that up to 3 corruption points. But you'd have to roll 3 more dice. So you determine the results. So we've done that. Counterspell, there's no counterspelling. Roll chaos dice. Hey, here we go. You can be forced to roll chaos dice for a myriad of reasons. However, when you channel power, you're required to roll them. Chaos manifestation. How do we do this? You roll. No, it's only if you channel. If you generate 1 or more phase 6s while casting magic, you trigger a manifestation.
That sounds about right. So the 6s are the criticals on that side.
Yeah, but I don't think you have to roll unless you channel power.
Isn't that part of what he just did to do the magic?
No, channeling power is taking on extra. After difficulty rating is called out, you can attempt to absorb more power. So you can say, I'm going to channel power, but then you roll chaos dice.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can cast it at the base difficulty without much risk.
Yep.
But
That's
with low
how it
chance
seems.
of success, or you can boost your chance of success. And
Now I'm just checking. Diabolist.
so does that mean if you gain
your
corruption, you roll
power.
dice, and if you don't, you don't? Or is channeling power separate from gaining corruption points?
Sorry, say again?
Is channeling power separate from gaining corruption points?
No, channeling power
Or is channeling
increases your chance, and you take a corruption point.
Yeah, so that is the gaining.
Yeah.
If you get the bonus, you get a corruption point,
And then you have to roll a d6.
Dice to see if it explodes in your face.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, cool. Okay. Excellent. Right. Yeah. It says in your profession, sorry, not career, that if you channel power, you have to roll chaos dice. Cool. Okay. So that was successful, but you didn't detect anything. What's happening now? They're moving the body. They're taking the body off. They're moving them down the jetty.
Step them back, let them do what they need to do.
Bertholdt is leaning against the side of the boat.
Okay.
Do I try it? Do I try something? Probably not. With that many people around, being that. I was thinking of trying to grab his purse.
What, the dead guy?
Yeah.
Now, that would be corruption.
I'm not going to try it with them.
Definitely be corruptible.
I'm not
Is
gonna
the
try
dead
it
guy
with
holding
them.
anything?
Not that you can see. Not in his hands.
Cool.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So they carry his body away.
Well, they just saved me from gaining corruption points, so you know.
Okay. And the Reeves head off down, and the guys are still loading the wine across onto your
So
boat.
Bertholdt will grab a bucket that's next to him and start cleaning the deck.
Okay.
And get rid of some of the bloodstains,
Sure.
trying to get a bit tidy up.
Okay.
Give a little nod to the captain and say, yeah, don't worry, I'll sort this out.
Smoking his pipe. A young lad comes down the jetty with with a little hand cart full of pickled fish and herring and stuff like that, and dried fish, and he's like, excuse me guys, does anybody want any food? I've got food for sale. I've got fish of varying types, and we've got some steamed, we've got some baked, we've got some dried, we've got some pickled, we've got all different kinds of fish. if you want to buy some fish for your sustenance. Anybody? It's kind of.
What
He
are,
looks quite
what are
thin.
your prices, boy?
A penny a fish.
For any type of fish, or
The pickled's 2 pennies.
okay, just give me some smoked fish, and I'll flick him a penny.
Okay. He pulls out a little. He's got like these little sticks, sharpened twigs, basically. He kind of spears a bit, and he comes over and gives it to you. Here you go, mate.
Hopefully, it's smoked, so I can put it in my.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
just put it in my bag.
Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So
What have we got by way of food stocks on the barge?
you've got some rations and long distance style food rather
And
than
lots of wine.
and lots of wine now.
Lots of wine.
Yes. Yes. So it's lots of hard cheese and some very crusty bread
Hard
and
biscuits.
some cured meats. Jerky basically.
Bread, meat,
That's
and
what you've got.
cheese sounds like a winner.
Yeah. It's that's why you had to take a bit of a breather from the shed because it was getting a bit smelly.
Someone's been at the cheese.
Yeah,
quite a bit.
Whoa! Yeah. God, got to clear my head. Okay.
I'll get some fish as well.
Okay. Cool. Penny, 2 penny.
Penny.
Okay. Here you go, Mister.
Are there any other vendors? Like you said, there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, there's a few people. They seem to be. There's a couple of them who are kind of peddling fish, and then there are a few people who are selling very simple carved wooden wares, nothing fancy, sort of bowls, the odd jug, pots, things like that, things that people might need just to live their life. Someone's selling baskets, and they kind of, as you kind of go over to have a look, they're kind of like, "Oh, would you like to buy a basket? We weave these ourselves from the."
I'm selling anything. I basically want something hot, so some stew or something like that, because I'm been sitting on that boat for God knows how long. So I didn't selling anything that's more than just some dried fish.
There is to one side. There is a small. I wouldn't really call it a tavern, but it's sort of an open-fronted house where there is someone with a big pot over a fire, and they seem to be stewing something up. There's a couple of horses tied up next to it, and you can see a couple of people sitting on like little benches just out of the rain, kind of there. And there's an old lady, kind of snaggle-toothed old woman, and sort of stringy hair, sort of stirring this pot.
I like the look of that place. It's dry.
Dry and hot. That's
You do think it will take a little while for them to put all the barrels and things on the boat?
Let's go.
they're not going without you, are they?
So we
Yeah, I'm
see
just
these
gonna
two sort of
saunter over.
wander off, so
Yep.
I give you a nudge and said, "Do you reckon we should go with them, or are you staying here?"
Yeah, he goes,
So
I'll look
finish-
after the boat, and these guys are loading those barrels anyway. You'd just be in the way.
I've finished cleaning up. Are you coming for a wander? Or are you staying
sure.
here?
I'll come with you. I'm going to just have a last. I'm going to. Yeah, I'll be right after you.
Okay,
Okay.
so give him a nod, and then I'll clamber over the side and down
And
to
I'll wait
down
for a
onto the
moment,
jetty
and I
to
just
follow
want
these
to
two.
palm whatever was tucked away in between the barrels before somebody accidentally finds it while they're loading the.
Okay. So you reach down.
I'm not looking at it at all. It's literally I'm just transferring it from where he'd hidden it to. So
Okay. Well, as you reach down, you feel like a small scroll case
okay.
behind a barrel. Very slim, very thin, for just
Okay.
notes and very small bits of paper.
Yeah.
And you just find it. You think it'd be quite easy to pocket it yourself.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to do.
Okay. So you just pop it in your pocket, and you
I'll have a look
head
at
up.
that later.
You head after.
In other
You
people's property.
catch up with these guys as they're making their way across, and this old lady's like, "Come in, come in, come in. Yes, we've got stew for all travellers. Come. Put a couple of pennies in the pot, and I'll dish you up a bowl."
Are you going
Right.
to pay for everybody? I'm asking. Yeah, Bertholdt
It's
asked.
got these kind of Little wooden, roughly carved out, whittled wooden bowls. Just simple bowls. Just kind of slop this thing in. It looks like it's greasy, mostly animal fat with turnip leeks.
Excellent, I love it.
Is that a small sliver of some meat in there? You're not sure. And she kind of whacks it in the bowl. There you go. It's hot.
Like probably delicious, amazing.
Yeah, and she goes, whack. There you go. Whack. There you go.
On the boat.
Oh, I see you lot are having trouble with them Reeves. What's going on?
Just after some vagrant, I think.
Oh, I'm going to ask you. Do you see the Reeves much?
Oh, they're always nosing about. They're really, I don't know, all around here a lot more often these days. Making sure that, I don't know, they're keeping an eye on all the fishermen in the whole area. I don't know.
Surely fishermen can't be that much trouble.
I think I don't know. It's not.
Is there anyone else eating with us, or is it just us and the old ladies? What else is going on around us at the moment?
There's a couple of other travellers who look like heavily bearded woodsmen who are just sitting there, not giving two fucks about who you guys are. They're just sitting there and eating hot food. Much like you guys, they're obviously in out of the rain. They've both got large axes down on the floor next to them. Just woodsman's chopping axes. They don't look like they're battle axes or that kind of thing. And they're just like sitting there. They've each got a little sack on the floor. One of them's got his over his shoulder, and they're just eating this food. And they're kind of grunting to each other every now and then.
So Bertholdt put his bowl to one side, thank the lady, and make his way towards to the huntsmen that are sat there.
Okay.
And then just sort of nod at them and just, how's the hunting been? How's it been out there today?
Wet. Fucking wet. We've been there's a few game around that don't mind the rain, but a lot of them hunker down, keep to themselves, harder to find.
So the hunting round here is pretty good then, is it?
Yeah, but I wouldn't be going wandering around. The woods between here and Minuet are full of, I don't know, orcs and all kinds of stuff. Orcs spelt with an X, by the way.
Far safer to travel by boat, I think.
Any sensible man with his head screwed on goes down the river and not mess about in the woods. I mean, whether it's the orcs or these bloody Reeves giving you trouble, it's one of the two. I don't know.
What's the deal with the Reeves? They seem to be over enthusiastic.
Oh, I just think they've got, I don't know, stick up their butt about something. I don't know. There's stuff going on at Minuet. There's stuff going on here. They've just been patrolling a bit more. I don't know. I'm not even in. I've just popped into Lloyd's Beacon just because I know there's hot gruel waiting for you if you can, and maybe see what's going on at the jetty. But there's not much going on around here. They do pay a lot of attention for not much. He kind of finishes his bowl and he's like, well, anyway, Ethel, great stew again.
Happy hunting.
And he nudges the other guy. It looks like he's almost falling asleep. And they kind of both get up and they kind of wander out back into the rain. You see their shoulders kind of tense up and their hoods come a little bit further over, their axes sort of hanging by their sides. And they kind of march off through the mud, sticking to their boots off towards another house, it seems. There's only sort of 5 or 6 buildings here, so it's very small. And this is kind of the one nearest the jetty. The others look like hovels or homes, lean-tos, that kind of. This is just a little stopping point, really, a pausing point.
One thing the Reeve captain said was, he said this guy's a revolutionary, or was that the exact
sympathiser? Was what
sympathiser? Is that something we as our characters know about?
No. He's he's trying to use clever words. It seems the Blood War ended a couple of years ago. And there's 2 sides, one either side of the river. He may be distantly referring to that. Of this in the past, but that's not really. This is like middle of nowhere. That's really would be more of a thing up at Kahabro or Minuet maybe, which is more of a town. Which has actually got like maybe 100 people living there, that kind of thing, which you've been to before on the way. This place is just a little stopping off point. It seems a bit heavy-handed for the Reeves.
So I'll ask the lady who's serving the gruel.
Ethel,
yeah. Ethel, do you know that guy the Reeves wanted? Guy who got stabbed?
No, he's been. He was sniffing about town himself. Like, he turned up a little while ago, and he's been asking around, checking things out. He came down from. Where did he come from? Oh, I can't remember now. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. He was a straight. He had one pot of gruel, and he paid for it. So some of them don't pay for it. There's not much I can do about it as an old lady, You men with your swords and warrior women that come through here sometimes. I just make the gruel. It's not really my place to know these things. She looks down in the pot and she kind of goes over and scoops up the pennies. Right, I think I need some more turnips. I will be back in about 5 minutes. And she kind of bent back, she kind of pulls her shawl up closer over her head. She fetches up a crooked stick from the side and she starts to kind of wobble off into the night, and she leaves the big pot, which has still got, probably 2 bowls worth of gruel in the bottom. It looks really greasy, that bit. They're probably really tasty. Just at the bottom, and it's still hot. The fire's still going.
You know what to do.
No.
I can put a couple of pennies in the pot.
Okay.
I'll scoop it out. Dish it out for you.
I'd want another bowl yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys have another bowl of gruel. You've caught up by this time.
At this point, Bertholdt stands up, looks at those two, sort of gives them a funny look, pulls the hood up a bit, just turns around and says, I'm going back to the boat, see how they're getting on with the loading, and then just make my way.
Okay, cool.
Bit rude.
I've already been there for most of this because I've
for most of it.
So
probably when
Bertholdt's going to wander
talking
back.
to the woodsman.
Yeah. So Bertholdt's going to make his way back.
Okay.
He's not a big fan of company anyway.
Sure. There's as you do, you can see there's a couple of the Reeves still sort of lingering on the edges, maybe keeping an eye on you guys.
What, towards the jetty or towards where we've just eaten?
Towards where you've eaten.
Yeah.
Sort of halfway. And the others have gone off. They seem to be going off somewhere. Maybe they have an outpost somewhere nearby that they go back to.
That's a lot of Reeves then, because this town village is like 20 people.
Yeah, they're like 4 Reeves.
4 Reeves, okay.
Including a sergeant, so...
Quite heavy-handed.
They clearly were interested in this person.
Yeah.
And they've gone off. The sergeant and one of the others has gone off, and there are 2 Reeves left looking around. You're there, Thierry, with the guys, and the 3 of you are alone in this little hut with the fire as well, which is nice because you're warming yourself up. Because standing on deck in the rain all day is destroys your spirit, let alone your body temperature. So you're warming yourselves up and you're feeling a little bit homely. You head back to the boat. Seems like they're nearly finished. You reckon in maybe half an hour they'll be done loading up all the stuff. There's quite a bit of wine, and Diego's now directing them to balance it across the boat. No, don't stick it all at one end. Well, bloody, right, come on, those over there, put that over there. Diego's like, don't worry, we've got this. It'll be about an hour.
So I'll just ask him, we'll be casting off in about an hour?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Heading down to Minuet.
I'll let everyone know. So then I'll get off the boat and head back to the little hut so I can let everybody else know that we've got about an hour.
Okay. He comes back to tell you you've got an hour. Well, did you want to do something while he was doing that?
Yeah, I'll probably have a look at those in the dry where they're not going to get wet.
Okay. Letting them see, or are you trying to do it secretly? It'd be quite tricky to do it secretly.
He's not being secret that he's looking at something.
Okay, you're just kind of just part of. Oh, I'm just having a look at something.
Yeah.
Okay.
But he's not showing them. What
Make an awareness roll to see if you realise it's something that you've not seen.
24. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is something new.
Is it
Okay.
paper?
He pulls out a small, thin scroll case with a little. It's almost like a cork on one end, really. And this looks like it's made out of horn or something.
Yeah.
That's sealed at one end. And you pull it out, and inside there is ravelled a small note.
Okay.
A little bit of parchment.
I've not had a look.
Okay. You pull it out. And it says...
If anything, I'm mostly trying to make sure that if anyone can't see it, it's the Reeves outside.
Oh yeah, you can sit. You can sit with your back to the open front,
Yeah.
but then they definitely can see what you're doing.
Yeah. I'm more worried about the Reeves at this stage.
Okay. The note reads, expecting Witchstone to arrive in Minuet on the 13th aboard the Twin Trout, UG.
Okay.
Today is the
what
11th.
My character know about Witchstone, because you have vaguely mentioned it in passing as a.
Make a folklore roll plus 20%.
Okay, folklore plus 20. I need a 61. That's a 59.
Okay. So you pass.
Yes, just.
Witchstone is a heretical source of chaos power that evil chaos worshippers covet. And the God Emperor and his followers do everything they can to destroy. The Inquisitors are out there looking for people who would want these kinds of things. And it is dangerous beyond belief, but also highly lucrative. Really, really valuable.
Worth a lot of money.
Well, but not also. Therefore.
Yes. Yes.
Things that are very illegal also.
Yeah.
Often very valuable.
Yes.
Oh, paper. That looks interesting. Good read, I'll say, leaning over.
Yeah.
Just checking up on some correspondence. I had some
Can I
messages
try and
from.
have a sneaky look?
You're going to try and go over and have a look.
Yeah, I was kind of leaning over as he was reading. Basically, as he was
Put it back.
as he was reading it, as kind of.
Well, he's already read it, so he's putting it back in the scroll case.
Yeah. So I'm tucking it away from there, deciding what I want to do about it. So on the one hand, potentially quite lucrative. On the other hand, might be a good idea to not have horrifically corrupting stuff floating around. So, yeah.
Very true. He's clearly got something that he didn't have before.
Did you get that from that fellow?
We forgot to say at the beginning about... I was about to talk about it and then we talked about something else. Sorry, just to interrupt briefly. Where are we? Games Mastery. Start a gaming session, page 363 of 690. Let me just bench press this back. So we have the fortune pool. Just to remind everyone. I know.
Did you just lose my page?
It's awesome.
Oh
no!
It's such a big book.
So the fortune pool, we've got some dice down on the table, which you can't see on the screen. Is 1 plus the number of participating players, and they can use these for various things. However, every time you use one, I get a misfortune point to use against you, which is great. You would spend...
Makes life interesting.
Absolutely. We would then spend any reward points that you got from the last episode, which obviously we didn't today because I've created all your characters for you.
Yep.
We then review, damage, condition, track. No one was damaged. Update trappings in case you've forgotten about anything or you remember things. Yeah. And then you determine initiative ladder. So you actually do it at the beginning of the session. Okay. So that when you go into combat, you don't need to break the flow. You just go, we've already rolled initiative. So what you actually do is you roll D10 and add your initiative. Is it D10 or D6?
I don't know.
Let me have a look.
I think it's D10.
Yeah, I think it is a D10. Yeah. Okay.
Mike.
Oh, right, okay.
You may have to edit out some noise.
Nah, don't worry. It's not too bad.
Okay, so that plus that is
51. Yeah, D10. Yep. What do we get?
16.
16.
13.
Okay.
I've got. I presume I've got a fairly
10.
good initiative, Scott.
15.
As in the number I'm at.
So if we're in situations where we also have to have something where like, and this is why I thought it'd be good to roll it now, an initiative between the two of you two to see if you put the scroll case away before you got a chance to maybe get in there. So since his is 16 and yours is 15, I would say he has done his action and put it back in the scroll case.
What if he dropped it?
You want to do that?
Yeah, sure, why not?
Okay.
You know,
Make a
scooping up some
fat from
Fat
inside
from
the
the
bowl. Okay.
that was good stew.
Right.
Okay. So spell. What spell are you using? Cack-handed.
Cack-handed
Lots of
grip.
things. There's no cack-handed.
Cack-handed grasp, sorry.
Okay. Cack-handed
If you
grasp.
critical failures, I'm going to laugh.
Butter oozing everywhere. Totally
It's all right.
using
My
magic.
hand, I'm wearing long robes.
Okay. So it's petty magic, so it's plus 10. Wait.
Oh.
Before you roll,
Well, alright.
do you want to power it up? No. Okay. You have to decide that before you roll. Okay. So you're not powering up. What did you roll?
32.
Is that a success?
Yes.
What's your incantation plus 10?
Uh,
I believe you've got a pip in it.
68.
68. Okay, so absolutely. So that's a pass. Do they get a resist?
No idea. Effect. No.
No, they drop.
They
Instantly
drop
drop whatever's in their hands onto the
Outside
ground.
of easy reach.
Okay, so you,
I'm hastily putting the scroll
as
away.
you're putting,
as I'm
as you're
putting
doing
the
it,
cork
you-
in, it
it
slips
pops out of your hand and it rolls across
You know,
the floor.
Your hands are wet.
Rolls across the floor in front of Feltrix. The paper popping out of the scroll because you haven't quite got the cork back
Okay.
on.
Ooh.
Ooh!
Oh, I do love a read.
Okay, you just go to pick it up, and it says, as you pick it up, it opens. Strangely, you pick it up and it opens, and it says, "Expecting Witchstone to arrive in Minuet on the 13th aboard the Twin Trout." Signed, UG. It's the 11th today.
How far away is anyway?
It's a day's travel.
Okay,
On the
I'll
river.
put it back in the case and hand it back to him and go, you dropped this?
Thanks. I don't know. You just. I assume I don't know.
That's
you
a
just
corruption point, I think.
Covered in lard. And
I presume I don't know. I won't be able to notice the
Don't
magic
think so.
in that way because.
I don't think
Maybe.
it's. I don't think it's like. I think it's like
Okay,
literally
cool.
he's doing his.
subtle.
Yeah.
trick
Yeah,
of the
because I wouldn't
hand.
just be start randomly chanting.
No, I was assuming not, because considering how horribly illegal magic is.
Is magic illegal?
Well, it's yeah.
Oh, awesome.
It's kind of like
I didn't know that.
That's why you're called a diabolist.
I'm assuming there are other magic types.
If you don't advertise it to everyone,
Yeah.
that's what you do as a hobby.
yeah.
It's a bit like role playing.
Cool. Okay. Right.
But I do know that you've just read something, read it. You picked it up, quite obviously opened it up and read it, and then tucked it away and handed it back.
Well, I can't resist seeing some words on paper.
So what are you doing?
I handed it back to him.
You hand it back. Okay.
For now, I'm going to stash it back about my person.
You saw him read it, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
quite clearly. There was no. Yeah.
But I'm not
Okay.
going to make a big fuss about it.
Sure.
Particularly when there's some people.
Yeah,
like
no,
that who
absolutely.
just
You
killed
pop it.
someone for
You pop it back in your pocket. That's fine.
Yeah, you'll get a little bit of a grin. that
His
sounds
eyes
fun.
are going to like grow. You've all got. I think you've all got distinguishing marks, and you've got like strange eyes or something. On the previous page, right at the bottom.
Distinguishing marks.
Lanky hero, piercing eyes.
Piercing eyes. His eyes gaze at you, the firelight flickering them slightly.
Okay, well. Yeah.
There is a lure of power. Anyway.
Oh, this is going to be entertaining.
Cool. Okay, so Bertholdt's told you you've got about an hour left. You're there. You arrive just as he's passing something back to him, to Thierry, and there's a strange, quiet moment between everyone.
If he's close, he'd have heard me say, "You dropped this."
It's still the rain is coming down a bit heavier now, so only when you get into the shelter are you kind of be able to hear it. The old lady appears again. She's kind of trying to pull a little cart along, and it's kind of getting a bit stuck in the mud. And you can see it's got like a sack of root vegetables and like some sort of big jug or something.
Bertholdt
like
will get up and go over to try and help the lady move.
Oh, you're a good lad, aren't you? Look at you. Oh, help! You get a bowl for free. Here we go. Come on, bring it. I need to do another pot.
Thank you very much. Where do you want the basket?
Just put it next to the stand. The iron. She's got this kind of iron stand for the kind of cauldron-y type thing. And she comes in and she's like, "Oh, he's still here. Oh, okay. People don't normally stay very long here. They kind of stop, stretch their legs, head off. It's quite nice to have a bit of company." She starts putting things into the thing. Big
nice
jug
to
of
have
water.
space
She's
out
kind
in
of
the rain for a while.
Yes,
Well, just
it's horrible
indicate
out
that
there, isn't it?
Bertholdt getting up, get the other bowl, start to sit there and eat it. Say just mention to these guys that the police are still hanging around. There's still two of them down there, just down at the bottom of the road.
The Fuzz certainly seem interested in this small dog.
Yeah. The old ladies look at you like, "You're strange people."
Foreigners.
Yeah. She's kind of looks like she's sharpening a carrot, and then she just throws it in the pot, and then she kind of chops up some potatoes and kind of puts them in. Nothing's really getting peeled or diced in any kind of chef way, it's just kind of like it's all going in. She's big spoonfuls of fat going in, big jug of sort of what looks like river water, and then she sets the jug outside in the rain. She goes, "Well, that'll be full in."
Put my bowl down. Just put it to one side.
Right, and she starts stirring and brewing up another pot of stew. The time passes if you want it to. Do you want to do anything? Do you want to check anywhere? Talk to anyone?
No, just small talk.
Okay, cool. So time passes, and you guys see that the guys who are loading the boat sort of eventually dust their stuff off and they start coming over towards the shed that you're in. And Ethel sees them coming and she's like, "Oh, they'll be wanting a bit of stew. They've been out in that rain for a while, getting some bowls ready." She kind of whacks some stuff down. She puts them down on a bench. There's like a crappy wooden thing. And Diego's kind of on the boat. You think very distantly you can hear him maybe shouting, and he's kind of going
I
waving.
think that means we're ready.
I think so.
Yeah.
Hood up.
Hood up.
Put up, follow the gnome out.
Right, so
Nod to Ethel as we leave.
yep, she nods back at you with a lusty look in her eye. It's a nice young man, and you make your way across the kind of this muddy space between these little buildings. The rain is coming down, and you kind of make your way across, and you across the wooden planks. The blood stain still slightly there, and you get onto the boat, and Diego's like, I've balanced it out as best as I can. There's a lot of wine.
Excellent.
This guy is trading up in Kahabro, so once we've done what we need to do at Minuet, I've got a message I need to pass off to one of the tavern owners. Then we can probably move on. But we'll see. He's paying us, so just be nice to him. Don't. And he seems to he looks around all of you, but he seems to pause on you briefly. Don't do anything weird. And everything will be all right. Usual rules. Keep your hands and your feet inside the boat at all times, and everything will be okay. Right. Can you?
Minuet?
It's a day. It's a day.
So go and help to cast off.
Cool.
And then head back to the whichever got a bit of cover.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, they've got like on the front of the cabin, as it were. There's like some poles along with a roof over the top. So there is a bit of covered deck, but still, when the rain's coming in at different angles, there's like a little area right in the middle, just outside the door of the shed, that is actually dry. The rest is still a bit wet, and everything's kind of battened down. There's a small hold underneath where some stuff's gone in. You can go down there if you want, but it's kind of made for crates and boxes. Maybe halflings, maybe gnomes, but not really for humans. It's not really. You'd be like cramped, and if you're in there for any amount of time, you'd probably hurt yourself. So you push off. You get the big stick out, and you like push away. And he's like gets the tiller and everything, and he starts. The river starts to take the boat away, and he's like, right, okay, this is great. There's strong current. We're not going to need to do any punting or anything. So looks quite good for the next day or so. This keeps the flow on this river is pretty good. So that going this way, most of the time, it's just kind of about steering and stopping. Coming the other way, you need to worry about sails and oars and all that kind of stuff if you get kind of fancy with it. So the boat is heading down, and he's kind of on the back, as he usually is, this kind of quiet figure at the back, just steering the boat, not really wanting to talk to many people, just wanting to sail his boat. He quite enjoys it, even though it's pissing down with rain. He's out in the rain with his hood there, and he's just kind of watching the river. It leaves the four of you with the merchant, who sort of steps out of the door, and he says, it's very good of you all to take me on at short notice. You can see I was in quite a pickle.
Is he obviously armed?
Is he obviously armed?
The merchant.
He has got a sword, a rapier, on his belt. But he is a large, jovial man in his late 40s. And make an awareness roll.
Yeah, I'll make it.
You can tell his hands are soft. The way he stands is not a warrior stance. He doesn't look like he's ever really seen combat. Okay. It's very kind of you. What with all of this wine, and those fellows being so incompetent, not even to notice that they've got a hole in the bottom of their boat. This is ridiculous. What's going on with the riverfolk these days? Clearly, you've all found yourselves a good captain who knows what he's doing. This is great. Now I'm Rudger Weissbeer. It's a pleasure to meet you all.
Interesting name for a wine trader.
I know, it's quite a bit of a joke around the parts of Kahabro, where I often sell my product. This time we're taking it down for Morning Limb. You all know that this is a Gothric, which is the ethnicity of the area, holiday dedicated to maimed veterans who generally receive free ale and beer for their sacrifice. But he has got like fine wine made. It seems all the barrels are nice. They're well kept. They're well maintained. It's good wood. There's well printed name and number and everything on the side of them. It's not just some barrel of wine. These are clearly fine wine barrels. And he's like, yes, this is excellent. Very kind of you to look after me while I head down the river. This is excellent. There's some nice chaps who will meet us at the other end. A bit funny with all those Reeves running around there, wasn't it?
Yeah, very unusual for such a small place.
And who, if you don't mind me asking, who am I sharing this journey with? I mean, it's going to be a few days. We may as well get to know each other.
I'm Feltrix. Pleasure.
I don't think I've ever had the pleasure of meeting a gnome. It's
Well, there's not that many of us.
Can I say interesting to meet you? I know that sounds a bit strange, but
Well, as a scholar myself, I'm honoured to be considered interesting.
You're a scholar.
I am.
Oh, excellent. Ah, well, he kind of looks. I can figure out who you are. Do you have a name?
Jax.
Jax. You're the sword. Excellent. You look like a capable fellow. He's kind of, not uneasy, but he seems to be,
Very useful chap to have around.
Keep an eye on things.
Saw service in the Blood War, did you?
Everyone.
Yes.
Everyone looks
Didn't we all? He pats the hilt of his perfectly gleaming sword.
Yeah.
Yes. Didn't we all? Yes, and you chap there,
Bertholdt.
Bertholdt. Okay. Nice to meet you.
And you.
What do you help out on the boat? What do you do?
Working. It's making it uncomfortable,
Okay,
sort of having
yeah.
a conversation with this many people.
Okay.
So he's like almost one-word answers and sort of edging to quite a bit.
Very well,
He really doesn't want to
and
engage.
he kind of turns away.
He's not a very sociable person.
Yeah.
So he's sort of,
You've all figured this out on the last few days. Bertholdt kind of
Like-
keeps to himself.
yeah. So he goes
Bit
to
like the captain.
Yes, a bit like the captain. And you, fellow
Thierry.
Thierry
Rumble.
Rumble. Well met.
And you.
Yes. Well, and what do you do on the boat?
Oh, and know this route reasonably.
Oh, so you're charting the river.
A bit more.
Ah, you're the man to know then. Excellent. I mean, this is why I have to hire someone. This river is kind of a bit tricky in places, isn't it, I hear? And there's
Yeah.
a few forks and things that you have to make sure you don't go the wrong way. Getting to Kahabro is a bit tricky from these parts.
Well, it does help when you've got something to pass the time, I'll say, glancing at the wine.
I'm afraid that's merchandise, old chap, unless you're willing to pay. But most of this is already paid for. We're just shipping it out to the movers and shakers of Kahabro for their celebrations.
You don't even keep a small amount to drink yourself. That seems jolly silly.
Well, I do, but that's for me.
I see.
I could, I suppose I could. He goes into the shed and he's got like a small little barrel. And it's like, well, normally I do wait to sort of bottle it and store it, and these people are, but I could open it now and we could try it if you want.
Well, that sounds like a grand idea.
There is obviously a price for this. This is not cheap wine, my friend. This is the finest wine you will taste in your life. But you're lucky. I'm obviously at a bit of an end. So I'll just ask for 1 gold crown a glass. That's all.
I'll cough as he says that.
Well, I wouldn't pay that kind of money for a glass of wine without trying it first.
I'm not going to open this unless we're going to drink it.
You could be selling me swill.
How dare you, sir? I would never do such a thing.
Would you?
The Vice Bear name is renowned across Kahabro and the surrounding lands for fine wine.
Would you pay lots of money for something you've never tried?
The problem is if I open the barrel and it's open, it's very hard to seal these things back up.
I'm sure you're well practiced.
No, make a. Let's have a look. Let's make a roll. Yeah, I think this is going to be a opposed roll.
Something
try.
in fellowship.
Yeah, something in fellowship. So you're going to try and charm him. And he is
How
going.
badly did you just fail?
No, I did alright. I got a 10.
Not bad.
Apparently, he's quite good at convincing people to give him food.
Well, yeah. Experience goes.
Let's have a look.
Okay.
There are no stats in the adventure for him. Okay. He's a fairly competent merchant.
He's got a willpower of 1.
That seems unlikely.
It seems unlikely.
Unlikely. Oh, he failed. Rolled an 86. No matter what he's got, that's a fail.
You'd have to be really good.
I tell you what, we're going to have a few days on here anyway, aren't we? And I'm sure you've got some cups lying around somewhere. So how about I crack it open and I give you a very large discount.
What sort of discount?
I'm willing to cut it down to 5 shillings 5 shillings a cup. 5 silver shillings a cup.
Yeah,
How many pennies in it?
12. So my character has 1 shilling.
Well, as I said,
There's 20 shillings.
As I said, we
in a
should
crown.
sample it first.
Yeah.
12 pennies in the shilling. Sorry?
Well, like I said, we should sample it first.
Oh, very well. I will give you a sample. And he opens the barrel and he pulls from his belt, and he's got like some keys, he's got a purse, he pulls out a little thimble. He goes, my sipping thimble. And he goes in the other room and gently he's like pouring some wine into the thing, and he comes back and he...
What about for them?
In a moment, I only have 1 sipping thimble. Okay.
I'm just going to let the gnome do his own.
Okay.
I can't.
Make
I'm
a intelligence education roll. Because,
See if you can spot.
Oh,
it.
yeah,
wow.
see if you can, spot a fine wine.
What clue?
You have not, and it's not a case of this is shit.
He'll
You just
drink
have-
anything.
You just have no idea. You're a gnome.
To be honest, he doesn't care.
Yeah, he will drink
Yeah.
He's just
anything.
trying to get some free booze.
You sip the wine.
And I'm going to passing the thimble back to him.
Okay.
I think you should try it.
Do you care to try it? Who wants to try it? Do you have a shilling to pay for a cup?
I'm not interested. Bertholdt's just
Very
sat
well.
there on a barrel with his arms,
Arms folded.
just looking at the goings on, thinking,
Okay.
God, what have I done here?
I'm just shocked at that sort of money for booze. That just seems unbelievably
get
more money than I've ever
yourself
seen
some
really at that
free
level.
He's clearly trying to scam some money out of you. He's reticent to give you free booze. So unless you're going to give him some money and maybe offer him something, he's not going to. He's going to go back and retire and probably drink it himself.
I'm not going to try him.
Okay, very well.
Well,
Well, it's very nice to meet you all. I'm going to go and drink some wine. I hope this journey passes swiftly and smoothly for all of us. He says, sort of looking around.
Drop it.
And
Make it drop a bottle to drop out the.
It's a barrel. It's 1 barrel open.
That's a great shout. Just the bottle just drops out of his coat.
I don't know. It's got to be. I think it's got to be something they're holding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be
he's not holding it. He's left it in the room. He brought you out a little thimble of wine.
Oh,
Very well. I will retire to the cabin, he says optimistically.
what would the normal price be for a cup of wine?
It's not huge. It's a standard, like bog standard cup of wine is, you're talking pennies. Maybe a good cup of wine, a shilling. If like a very fine wine. Now he's clearly trying to scam you out of some money.
Well,
He paid. I mean, not my character figure, but he paid 80 brass whatever it
Pennies
is,
for transport.
for transport.
Yeah.
So he paid a cup of wine for the transport.
Yeah. So he's super. If it was top quality wine, you know, that's very rare, then it would be very expensive.
But if it was that quality of wine, why is he not got his transport sorted out?
Yes.
And
So you're probably talking pennies rather than.
He's there drinking whatever. Walk around. His barrels are on the deck of this barge.
Yep.
Just go around. I mean, I'm keeping an eye on things, what's going on, but just knock on the barrels. So all the barrels sound the same. So if it's wine in each one, they're all just going to sound roughly the same. Full out barrels of liquid.
Yeah.
If there's something weird about anyone, that's got something other than wine in, it's going to sound different. Okay. So that's really what I don't trust the guy. It's a bit weird on that place, and I'm trying to protect what's going on. So
you knock on all the barrels that you can see with his stamp on, and they all seem to sound like the same. Okay. You know, whether they're all filled with something else, you don't know. But from the way they were carrying them and the weight of them, they look like they're full of liquid. Yeah. You know. So you think pretty much they're okay. So you guys spend the rest of the day kind of moving around the ship, small talk, conversation, watching the riverbank go by. Occasionally in the very far distance you can hear maybe a tree fall or the sound of animals.
Bird song.
Maybe not bird song, but maybe the sound of wild boar goring something. You're hoping it's a wild boar. You know, and the boat moves down the river at good speed, and Diego reassures you that it'll be about a day, so it'll be tomorrow afternoon, maybe late, getting on towards evening, that you'll arrive. And the time passes. You sharpen your sword, you check your powder in your flintlock to make sure it's not got wet. You know, you're checking your arrows, the flights on them. You're rubbing your hands in grease and wearing a blindfold sometimes. It's getting a bit kinky already. This is Zweihander.
This is getting grim and perilous.
It's getting grim and perilous already. Okay.
I'm going to be scribbling some notes.
Okay, cool. And a day passes, and a little bit more. At some points it slows down. At one point you get caught in a little eddy and you need to pole the river out and all that, the boat out onto the river, and all those kinds of things. And it's starting to get dark, and the dark clouds are coming in, wind is picking up, and the rain is showing.
Do we normally sail through the night, or do we normally
most of the time you've just been going, and you sort of rotate watches. Diego's got this one, so he kind of keeps an eye out. But as it's coming sort of later, night is falling. The rain is intensifying, and as you near Minuet, you're kind of a serious rainstorm is kind of moving. It's come off of the forest onto the river, and it's moving across, and you're kind of getting buffeted to one side, and so even the cover that you have is kind of, the rain is coming in from an angle, but you can see up ahead lights and clearing, and now you can see the town of Minuet ahead, and there is a dock.
Can I, when I put my blindfold on and looked around for magical stuff, were the wine barrels in my view?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so I know there's nothing in there.
Surrounding area, yeah, there's nothing. Not that it showed up,
right.
Which generally means no. But occasionally,
just thinking back to the note.
Sure, but you occasionally know that some things you've heard of magic that can protect things from witch sight, potentially. But it's rare. Okay. So as you're arriving towards the dock, the wind is buffeting the boat. Diego shouts out to Bertholdt. You can, and it's getting hard to talk to each other now. You're having to shout.
Yeah.
And you kind of getting ready. You're poling one way. He's tillering.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's sort of holding on. barrel rolls across the floor. You kind of pick it up. You know, the deck is moving because the river is getting a bit choppy. You get into the side and you throw the rope onto the mooring post, tied on. The ship, the barge sort of heaves as the kind of wrestling with the restraint, but it kind of nestles into the dock. And Diego then lashes on the other end so that it's tied up both ends onto the thing. The rain is coming down hard and fast, and it's getting dark. As you are struggling with the moorings, some light comes out of the darkness ahead of you, and you can see someone walking along the dock towards the boat.
Are there lots of boats in the dock?
There are a couple, and there's a couple of like fishermen boats that are just pulled up on the side because they're small enough to be self-launched kind of thing. You wouldn't want to ground the barge. It'd be really, you'd have to have a whole team of people to like push it out every time, that kind of thing. So you are, you can see this light coming down the dock towards you, and a voice calls out through. Bear with me a second. Just find the right page. No, okay. You can hear this kind of voice shouting, but it sounds very far away. Welcome to Minuet, travellers. Grace be to the God Emperor. You made it here safely. This storm's coming in strong. It's getting really bad. We may have to close things down on the dock. We're not sure. We may have to stay moored for a while. I'm Herman Truman, the toll keeper. Don't worry about your tolls now. Obviously, there's a mooring fee. We'll sort that out in the morning. By the looks of you, and he kind of looks around each of you, he's holding up a lantern. This man is kind of standing there, looking around each of you, and he sees you're all completely drenched, windswept, like knackered, tired, and he's like, come on, up to One-Eyed Jacob's. That's the only place will be open right now, so head up there. They'll see to you, get you dry, get your food, and I'll come in the morning and we'll sort out the toll then. Okay? Sound good?
Thanks.
Diego's like,
grand.
Dry sounds good.
Diego says to you, I'm going to sort a few things out with Rudger here about this, and we're going to try and find some people to help us out. You can see a few buildings, but the weather is so
what's the merchant
intense.
He's
waiting. He's waiting with Diego. He wants to stay with the wine.
Is it now the date on the note?
That's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow, okay.
It's the 12th today. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, okay. So you can see that there is a village up the ways with like a wooden palisade around it, and there is a short distance between the dock and the entranceway, and he says it's on the west side of the village. They'll be open. You can't miss it. It's the biggest building in town. And he kind of sort of starts to head off. And he says to Diego behind you, do you need any help? Okay. Kind of starts to walk off. What do you guys want to do?
Okay. So from the conversation, it sounds like they want to unload the wine tonight.
Well, he's not bringing it here.
No, he's taking it onto Kahabro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he wants to keep it on the boat and probably keep an eye on it. Yeah. So and Diego is probably going to keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to keep an eye on his boat if in a storm.
Yeah,
well, he's got his own stuff on the boat.
Yeah, he's got all his stuff. He's got his own chamber, so that's he's fine. So you guys head up the hill towards the village, and you are allowed passage into the village. Even in this terrible weather, this building is noticeable. There's light for a start, spilling out onto the street in front of it. There's a two-storey inn, in front of which is a sign with a jack of spades, swings wildly in the wind. It's kind of rattling away. make a folklore plus 20% roll.
Okay.
Theory.
No.
Okay.
Just theory. I have folklore.
Okay. Yep, you can
I
do
don't
it.
have folklore.
I've got folklore.
Oh, if you've got folklore, you can take it. Theory can make a
Yes.
roll because
'Cause I
he's
have a
been here
thing.
before.
Yes, I pass.
Okay.
No,
Massive
critical fail.
Critical fail. I walk into the sign and it,
The sign
Ninety-
it cracks me on
Cracks
the head.
you in the head as you go in.
As I walk in.
You think when you were talking with Steiger about your mission, he may have mentioned that there's a very good brothel on the way to Kahabro called One-Eyed Jacobs, and this is the establishment that you're entering.
I hear this is a famous brothel.
It's closed. The doors are closed, however, and it's seems to be
It's way up and down the boat.
not closed. Maybe still open. You're not sure. There's lights on in the inside. It's getting late. You know.
Bang on the door.
Okay.
So Bertholdt steps up,
Okay.
gives it a whack.
You bang on the door, and the door opens after you hear a few footsteps. Door opens, and this huge man, massive guy, big, ugly bouncer, like stares down at you.
Is that any room for weary travellers?
You got coin?
We've got coin.
Get the fuck inside then. Right, he steps out of the way. His huge frame kind of blocks the door, and he steps aside, and you can see that it's warm on the inside. There's a fire going. There are people in here. It seems that it's just not an open door to anyone, you know. And you can see why now. As you look around, you notice there are some patrons, but there are also some people entertaining the patrons. And there are some young women and some young men who are in various states of not undress, but light clothing, which accentuates all of their physical attributes. And there are a bunch of ugly villagers who are happily throwing coin on the table as these prostitutes are gracing them and charming them and talking to them. Oh, amazing. I love hearing about crop rotation in your farm. It's amazing. So good. Yeah. Barley this year, is it? Oh, that's amazing. What about the North farthing? Yes, more money. Come on. All of this is kind of going on as you kind of make your way into the tavern. And a couple of prostitutes come up to you. They're nearby, a man and a woman. The man has got he's got this massively low cut tunic that kind of shows off his muscular body, but he's slim and light, so he's kind of there's a slightly feminine air about him. And the woman is wearing a bustier but quite a large dress. You know, it's not everything is on show. And the man speaks and says, "Oh, hello. I'm Julian, and this is my friend Vivian. Welcome to One-Eyed Jacobs. Please come in. Well, there are many ways in which we can entertain you. And there is ale and wine as well, and food, and a hearth by the looks of it. You seem..." And he kind of comes over and he leans over to Bertholdt and starts to kind of touch your shoulder. And Vivian comes over and sort of comes towards you and sort of puts her arm around you. You look like you've travelled so far. Please come in. There's food. There's warm water. That they kind of look at the gnome like...
The halfling looks over at the gnome and just kind of shrugs.
I'm just going to be walking towards
There's
the
a table over here by the hearth. Please come.
Already on the way.
Come. It seems quite full, you know, and there's as I said, a mismatch of villagers, you know, dotted around. There's a couple of woodsmen, clearly the farmer with a woman who's working very hard to get his coin out of his pocket. And there's, you know, laughter, there's some dancing going on. And you can see in one corner there's a loud card game going on. Some people sort of shouting, and a pale young man with perfectly coiffed hair sits the other side of the fire from you guys, writing in a large leather-bound book as you sit down at this table. And they kind of sit you down and she says, here we go. Right, now, I'm Vivian. by the way, as Julian said. Now, just for a few pennies each, we get you an ale and some bread to tide you over. A couple pennies more, and we've got a nice meal waiting for you. And from there, we can negotiate for further things that you may want to enjoy this evening. She says, smiling a very broad smile and leaning down at the halfling a little bit too low. And you're kind of like, huh?
Can I ask how much a bed will be for myself?
Yes. Oh, well, alone? Oh, pennies. You know, we have a common room where people can bunk down. There is a fire in there as well, so it's warm.
Right, put me down for that then.
Very well.
And I'll also order a meal.
Very well. And the ale and bread as well?
Yes, please.
Very well. Table bread for everybody?
Olives?
A few olives. Yeah, excellent.
Order a meal.
Okay, so that'll be six brass pennies. 6 brass pennies. Common room meal. 6 brass pennies.
No, let's think about the room later. But meal, definitely. Yeah.
Okay, meal and ale. So 4 brass pennies. Excellent. Right. Well, gentlemen.
Bit of an expensive trip.
She kind of waves over and does a couple of little hand signals, and then she kind of sits herself down on Thierry's leg, on his lap, and she kind of puts her arm round him, and she's kind of holding. Oh, it's good. You're just the right size, aren't you? Like this. Perhaps being a bit offensive to a halfling. She's not sure how to deal with halflings. Not many halflings come in here. She's not looking at the gnome. The gnome's freaking her out. And after a little while, you've sort of food and stuff is brought in. And shortly after, as you're kind of tucking into your food, a striking woman enters from behind the kitchen. She is well dressed, well covered. She's got immaculate hair. She looks quite prim and proper, although there's a slight air about her. And she kind of walks through and sort of do that, fix that, tidy that, sort that. She's kind of clearly in charge, pointing at people. Yeah. And she comes over and, good evening. New patrons, I see. Excellent. How are you this evening? I trust your travels have been safe.
Warmer now, thanks.
Excellent. Well, I will, as you are fresh out of the rain, I tell you what, we'll give you another mug of ale free each on the house. I run this establishment. I look after the real business here. Someone runs the actual place, but I'm Domenican, and I look after the workers, shall we say. So this is my establishment. Now, Diesel, she points at the large chap by the door. He also looks after them. So we won't have any trouble, okay? And we don't do anything that the nice people don't want you to do, okay? Yeah. If you don't know the rules, then just ask Julian or Vivian. There are kind of maitre d's. They will show you all the ropes if you want. And there's a menu that you may discuss with them if you so choose. It's not expensive, but it's well worth the money. But I hope you have a lovely evening. There's some wine that we've brought in especially recently from Kahabro. Very fine wine. We've got lovely food. I think there's a couple of hogs that we've roasted. I think you've got some of it there. Excellent. Great. You're partaking. And of course, we've got lovely ladies and lovely men. Whichever you wish to partake of, go for it. Anyway, I have things to attend to. I always like to say hello to my new patrons, but if you need me, I will be in my office and one of the lads or ladies can fetch me. And she kind of turns around and walks out. Obviously, clearly the kind of thing she normally says to new people who have come here and never been here before, pointing out Diesel especially. Yeah. As you look over at Diesel, he is sitting there drinking lots. He's clearly got some sort of free beer deal going, or he's giving up part of his pay for alcohol. And next to him, there's kind of a couple of empty tankards, and he's got another one in his hand, and he's just kind of drinking it, and he's kind of looking around the room and kind of, giving people the evil eye or leering at the workers in the establishment, the boys and the girls. He doesn't seem to be fussy. He's kind of, and if one comes near, he's kind of a little bit handsy, a little bit touchy-feely. And you guys sort of tucking into your food. There's the man beside you sitting writing a little book. There's a card game going on, and then there's sort of odds and sods going on. What do you guys want to do?
Get warm and eat food first. That's got to be
okay.
Is there anything written in the book the guy's writing?
He is quite. He looks like he's trying to stop people from seeing. When you're doing a test next to your mate at school and you don't want him to see your answers. He's got his arm around the book, and he's kind of. It doesn't look like he's writing. It looks like he's drawing. You're not sure. But he's merely 10 feet from you. So he looks quite pale, and he is... let me find it. Yeah, he's just pale, but with perfectly coiffed hair. He's got very good hairstyle.
The note that I've read, that technically I shouldn't have done,
yeah.
Did it give any details about the...
It said literally what I said to you. Did you write it down?
No. I'm drinking.
It said something was coming to Minuet, this village, on the 13th.
Signed by UG.
Yep, on a particular name of a boat.
The name of the boat. Wind
Racer. Trout. Two trout.
Yep, twin trout.
Twin trout.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that would be tomorrow.
Well, your character's actually seen this, so...
No,
I don't know why you're making
I
notes.
didn't really pay... Actually, I don't know anything about this note, so I see nothing.
You know that note exists.
I know there's something, but
Yeah,
I don't really care about what it is.
In a quiet moment, I'm going to basically tell you that something of interest is coming in on said boat that I think our employer would be interested in.
That boat that was sinking, that didn't happen to be called the Twin Trout or anything weird like that, did it?
Make an intelligence roll.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I'd say looking shocked.
No. Really not.
Really make it.
It wasn't called the Twin Trout.
Okay, that's fine.
In between things at the moment. I keep getting 80s.
Your boat is called the Twin Trout. Oh, you go back to the boat and it says Twin Trout. The sign falls off. It's written underneath. No.
Exactly as Diego.
Be interesting. Interesting twist.
Oh, that's my computer making a noise. Okay, so you're there eating. You're trying to see what this guy is up to. As you are doing this, are you doing it
Subtly.
subtly?
Yeah. Not just kind of walking
Make
over.
make a stealth roll to try and do it subtly.
No.
Okay. You start leaning towards him, and your chair heftily creaks. And he turns and looks at you, and there's a slightly zany look in his eye, like something slightly is beholding him, and he slams his book and runs off. Yeah.
Okay. Runs
further to the over to the other side of the tavern, away from you. He's like walks off. sits back down. It's like a couple of tables away.
What an odd fellow.
Yeah, he just doesn't want people staring at his book, maybe. Who knows? Okay, as you're then eating, the room is kind of disturbed as you see Vivian, who's been nicely introducing you to everything and telling you the rules, has gone over to give Diesel another tankard of ale. And as she's done so, he has grabbed her bottom quite roughly, and she is kind of struggling. 1 second. Everyone sort of turns around for a moment, and he is kind of. She is trying to tear herself away, and he's got her. She's kind of looking up at him as if she's about to maybe punch him.
I say, perhaps you should let her go.
That'd be a really good time to...
You want to do anything? You're just going to...
I will say exactly what I just said. I say, perhaps you should let her go.
Okay, you say that, and he kind of looks up at you. Why don't you fuck... And as he says that, she strikes him.
I was expecting you to do your magic.
Oh, yes.
I was tempted to do it and drop her.
She punches him in the face so hard that he drops back onto his seat. Blood spurts from his nose onto the floor, and he just looks completely amazed and stunned and suddenly awoken from his drunken stupor. She turns around with a massive smile on her face, and she shouts out, "It worked! It really worked, Marie!" And as she says that, she looks up the staircase at the back, and everyone turns around to see a tall, beautiful, Aridane woman, dark skin, descend down the stairs wearing a long cloak. She has got what looks like a red corset poking out from underneath. And she comes down. A couple of barmen come out, sort of start to move Diesel away. He's bleeding everywhere, and he's kind of slightly dazed. They kind of take him out the back through the kitchen, and everyone make awareness tests minus 10%.
Discern details.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Okay. Yes.
6.
Okay.
So yes.
So, as this is all going on, suddenly this woman, the room's gone quite quiet. The card game's quietened down. She starts walking down the stairs. As this happens, you two notice that the man that you were trying to peer at, he is resumed his drawing in his book, and he looks up at her, and he tears the page from the book and throws it towards the fireplace. He's like, stands up, throws it towards the fireplace, and storms off towards the common room out the other entrance. It's just kind of through the crowd, but you see him kind of.
Does the paper reach the fireplace?
It's rolling towards the fireplace.
Can I?
And how far are we from that?
You haven't spotted it.
Pretty close to the fireplace.
Yep.
I'm gonna.
Yeah, you are very close to
the fireplace.
So you can both make a plus 20% agility test
try and
to
scoop it out.
Why not?
to try and scoop it up.
Just courtesy of the plus 20.
Okay.
28.
Cool.
So I may get it before you.
You do, because you have also have higher initiative on the ladder. So, Thierry, you go, and he sees you spot it.
Drop
He's
a
like,
hand.
aha, a little halfling hand gets in there first.
What is it with short bits of paper? The
Yeah.
entire session has been the two of you fighting over small bits of paper.
This is very true.
Pretty much. I'll have a quick look, but mostly I'm not actually particularly trying to get it for myself.
Okay.
But I'll have a quick glance at it.
It's a drawing of a woman. As you quickly glance at it, he's drawn a picture of a woman. Okay. If you want to look at it properly, then that would take a moment.
I'll have a glance at it, and then I'll actually pass it to you.
I'm going to have a look. Because paper. Yay!
Okay. You have a look. It depicts a smeared picture of a woman's face, framed with dark curls. It looks a bit like the woman coming down the stairs.
I think she has a fan.
The woman comes down and she
why.
starts to talk to Vivian and Julian about what was going on, and they seem to be talking. And you hear, make awareness rolls, all of you. You hear people, the room start to pick up back again with chatter and games and cards.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. 32.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So you hear someone saying, "Oh, it's that strange woman again. She's a bit weird. It's been strange since she's been in town. They've all acted odd in here, haven't they?" And this mate's like, "Yeah. They felt like they really own the town. I don't know what's going on." And you hear over on the card table someone say something about Marie. Oh, yeah, she's absolutely beautiful. I think they modelled this candelabra after her. And you look up and you see that the candelabra on the ceiling has got rather suggestive naked figures around it where all the candles are being held. All female figures on this one. There are some male things on other candlesticks around the room. Yeah. I'm trying to dial it down a little bit. The figure on the candelabra does look vaguely like her shape, but it's just it could be nonsense. And she goes over and she starts talking to Vivian and asking her about. You can hear them saying, "What's going on? This is happening."
Well, given what I heard and strange things, can I pull the hood over my head as if I'm, trying to have a snooze, but blindfolding myself and try and cast witch sight? I want to see if because they were saying there's something weird about her.
Sure.
38.
You can't sense anything, anything strange, magical about her.
I'll look around the room.
Okay.
And if I can see the bloke that
Diesel will be. We'll just do it.
Diesel. Oh, what's the name? The one that shouted "It worked." Vivian.
She's standing next to Marie.
I'm basically going to be looking at all of the people.
There's
in the
doesn't seem to be.
It's a good word, that kerfuffle.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Doesn't seem to be any.
Nothing in the room.
No.
All right.
No. She has an air about her, though. She's strange. The Aradane people don't normally travel this far into the land, for a start. And she does hold herself well. Jax, make an awareness. An awareness roll.
No.
Oh my word!
I've failed all of them so far.
Cool.
I am not aware.
She is.
the best bodyguard that doesn't have a clue what's going on.
She is also a very attractive woman, and a lot of the men in the room are sort of every now and then staring at her, probably hoping that they can spend the night with her. But she's wearing this large cloak, so she does look like she's kind of covering herself up a lot more than the others.
There are a lot of distractions in this particular bar that, are making it harder to...
You're very distracted.
I'm very distracted.
Yeah, very. So your complimentary ales are brought out. Bertholdt, your mind is being blown by what's going on in this room. There's so many people in here.
Yes,
there's semi-naked people in here.
Starting to sweat.
There's a lot of alcohol.
The palms are going. Sort of keep shuffling on my seat.
Yeah. Every now and then that guy, Julian, comes around and he kind of, "Can I help any of you?"
Bertholdt just sort of freezes in his seat and looks very uncomfortable.
We frown on very little here. Let's put it that way. And he kind of walks off. He goes over and he's kind of, every now and then he stops to kind of apply a bit of oil to his chest just to get the sheen going again. Yeah, and the people in here seem to be having a really good time. You know, some of them go upstairs with some of the workers, and an hour or so passes, and it starts to dwindle out. The Marie seems to go and sit down at the table near the hearth where the drawing guy originally was. So she's quite near you, and you can kind of smell her perfume from where you are, and it's got almost spice to it, and it's quite, for the world of shit and muck and filth that you come from, and fish. You know, this is manna from heaven. This is beautiful. Visually, the smell is great. And all that kind of stuff. She is kind of like, wow. So you are kind of finding it hard not to look at her.
We're going to go and have a chat with her.
Okay. But she seems to be.
I'll follow them over, of course,
Okay.
What's supposed to be doing?
Okay.
Your job. Yeah.
You walk over, and she has quite a dusky voice, which itself has an allure to it, and she's good evening. New patrons in the house, I see. How are you enjoying the establishment?
It's lovely, very welcoming. Fair, somewhat unconventional.
Oh, this is all standard fare here in Minuet. Which way are you heading? Up to Kahabro or Kahabro? Well, you'll see more of this. This is tame, but a good group of people. They may be workers, but they are like a family.
You shouldn't judge
They're very
one on a
close to my
profession.
heart. Well, no, you have to make a living.
Exactly. We all have our ways and means.
Yes, we do. She doesn't seem to be perturbed like the others do about the fact that you're a gnome with strange hair and beady eyes.
On itself.
Yeah, she's just talking to you quite openly.
There's a chap in here that seems jolly interested in you. Has been drawing pictures of you.
Oh, I have some admirers. Some of them write me poems. Some of them draw me pictures. As you're closer now, her hair is not curly. It's a lot more straight than the picture that was drawn. But yes, it's good. I make a living.
Keeps trade busy, I suppose.
Yes. And what are you fellows up to? Yeah.
Bertholdt just sort of
Yeah.
He's like holding his beer.
What are you fellows in Minuet for? If I may ask.
Just on our way through.
On your way through, up to Kahabro.
Indeed.
And what business do you have in Kahabro, if you don't mind me asking? I like to get to know my patrons. I like to understand their wants and their needs, the toil that they go through in their everyday life.
Research.
Research?
Indeed. Our employers are keen for me to examine some documents.
You're an academic, then?
I am.
I've never had time for such things. It's beyond me, she says.
Well, we all fall into professions.
Yes.
I will describe the chap who was drawing her and say...
Not drawing her, possibly.
Yes. Zacharias. Yes.
Particular fan of yours?
Oh, I think so, yes. She sort of has a soft smile.
I'm sure you
find discomforting.
Almost falls off his chair.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure you have many.
Well, she kind of feigns a blush. She does not blush. I have to look after them, though. You saw what happened with Diesel. And he works here as well.
Is that common for him to behave in such a manner?
Recently, yes. It's been getting handsy. it's about time that he got a swift punch to the face, I think.
Oh, he definitely deserved what he had coming.
Yes. It's, it's a long time coming.
How's looking over at Diesel? Is he now being a bit more alert? Is he looking pissed off? Is he still drinking?
They took him off.
They took him off.
Oh,
they dragged him out.
Okay.
He was like, and they pulled him out, and they've probably put him to bed somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah. So you staying the night?
We are.
Is anyone picking Vivian up on her offer? She's a good girl. She could do with the coin. Or Julian. He's a good boy.
I'm sure they could. We, however, also are in need of coin.
Ah, okay. Very well.
You must hear plenty of rumour in your line of work, pillow talk and all that.
I hear all kinds of interesting stories. The tale of Count Byron and his artists, the goings on around the town, the patrols of the Reeves, all these things going on. It's all quite interesting.
Coming and going.
I try not to get too involved, though. I'm just here to look after the workers, make sure that we will not, no one hurts them.
Of course, that would be awful. You must hear of the coming and going of ships and the passing of items from one person to another.
Sometimes.
Including the more illicit trades.
Sometimes.
Have you heard any recently? I'll say sliding a couple of coins over the table.
She looks down at it thoughtfully for a moment. And she looks up at you, and you can see she's kind of looking around your group, trying to sort of size you up a bit. You have just walked in and asked her about illegal trafficking or dodgy goods. It depends on what we're talking about. Are you looking for personal, or for business, or for something else?
It's on behalf of someone else.
And what do they intend to use this for?
Research.
She takes the coins. I'm afraid I don't.
Very well.
I mean, the only thing I've heard of strange tales around here is the old Byron story from Kahabro and his people who moved to this area a little while ago. But that's for another day. That's a long story, and I think it's getting late. I think perhaps, as she sort of looks around you again, perhaps we should talk tomorrow when there's daylight about.
Indeed.
It's getting late.
Very well. I have things to attend to, she says with a bit of a smile. She stands up, and for a moment you get a glimpse of her thigh between the cloak, Bertholdt, and this smooth skin of her thigh dazzles you for a moment, and you're shocked. And she stands up and twirls away and sort of walks off back up the staircase, glancing back over her shoulder at the three of you, not really at you, but in a sexually suggestive
Very
way this time. Yes. Yeah. With a bit of a flick of the hair. Yeah. You can see her heel and her ankle. Ooh.
Very deliberately.
All choreographed. Very deliberate manoeuvres that you can see she's done a million times before, but they look great. And she heads off up the stairs. And Vivian comes past and says, right, well, the common room's now open for bedding down, unless anyone wants to bed down with me, she says. And Julian says, or with me. We judge not. Everyone is welcome here in One-Eyed Jacobs.
I think Bertholdt stands up very quickly.
Just a shilling.
Good night, and makes his way to the common room.
Just a shilling for the evening.
And for the two of you?
They smile. Well. 3 shillings. When there's 2 of us, you get triple the fun.
If you bring up the beer, okay.
Very well. They clap their hands together, and Julian and Vivian help you out of your chair. Their arms around you, and they say, "We'll see you lot in the common room tomorrow in the morning. Enjoy the wooden boards and the straw and the low hearth. We'll be nice and warm upstairs."
Will nod to you. Have fun.
Yep. And you go upstairs.
I'm not paying much attention to you.
No. You're just like, you go upstairs. You guys head into the common room. And we fade to black at the end of our episode. And next time, you'll get to make a toughness roll to see what you've possibly picked up while you're there. I've been told it's a time-honoured tradition in Zweihander to have an STI roll.
Excellent.
So we'll see. Anyway, cool. Okay, so you all go to bed. You guys can put a watch on if you want between the 3 of you, split it or something. You head up and have a fantastic night.
There we go.
Yeah.
Let's focus on that bit rather than the aftermath, at least for now. Yeah.
And we'll leave it there. So that's the end of our first episode of Zweihander. I really enjoyed that. Hopefully you guys did as well, and hopefully you guys did out there. Hopefully we did it some justice. There'll be some errata, some rules pointers. Please put them in the comments below. We want to make this as close to correct as we can. I'm going to read up a bit more on the rules. Bear in mind, this arrived about 48 hours ago. I haven't had time to get through all of it. I'm not a massive fan of reading PDFs, I have to say. I've got a dodgy eye. So
I do have to say, I love the character folios.
The character folios,
these are cracking.
Absolutely fantastic.
All of your different pages of your character.
Yep. Especially like the back. A certificate of death. Because on the front it says, "A complete record of the sordid life and eventual death of," and then you put your character's name.
Yes, for everything. So
with tick boxes for exactly how you die.
Yeah.
Lawful punishment.
Dim quackery. I like that one. That's good.
So
excellent.
Yeah.
Wrongful magics, which have been illegal.
That's never going to happen.
However, just saying, the character folios are absolutely brilliant.
But I think we may have to do some extra videos about some of the stuff, some of the book, the gear. Maybe one session we'll hang around for a little bit longer or earlier and do a bit of a chat through of some of these things.
About the weightlifting.
Before it's delivered.
Your postman will
make sure you eat plenty of protein before doing that.
There were 3 of these in one box. It's mental. Anyway.
Poor postman.
Anyway, that was a good first session, guys. We will be back next week with another episode of Zweihander Grim and Perilous. While we're away, don't forget to check out the Main Gauche Kickstarter. Go and have a look at that. There's loads of cool stuff. It's already funded. All you have to do is get on board. You'll get some really cool things.
Roll in the stretch goals.
Absolutely. I think there's a bit of a mystery one at the moment. They're trying to get people to guess what's going on. So go and check it out. Check out their Facebook page. We'll put links below or above, depending on where you're seeing this video. Thanks, Roger. Don't forget to check out our Patreon. All the help we can get will help us to improve the studio. Maybe
a wall covering.
A wall covering here might help.
Decadence.
All that kind of stuff. Yeah. Check out Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as usual. And please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But until next week, we'll see you next time on Grim and Perilous. Bye-bye.